lot more than 500 million, but I make at least $1 million every time I read the book. And so the self-confidence formula says, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. I here now promise to render such action. I realize through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will focus 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Now think about how powerful that is. So you are visualizing that person. It's you, but it's not you right now. It's a whole different person. He walks different, talks different, he handles business different. His reactions to situations are different than yours now. So that person is the person you're striving to become. And so it says 30 minutes daily. And I could go on, that's not even halfway through the self-confidence formula. But I want to get to my next point. Using weaknesses to your advantage. So I used to train my daughter to fight a lot. She got very good at it. And I used to love combat sports. And whenever I would take her to tournaments, I would usually jump into the tournaments too for a couple reasons. I get a certain tension when I schedule a fight way out in advance. So a lot of times I would take my daughter to a tournament, and then just to show her that you weren't on your own, I would jump in and do it too. So that way I wouldn't have that tension, that anxiety for 3 months leading up to the fight. I would just do it on the spot, right? And so whenever I would go to these tournaments, I would see some of the same people. It'd be a jiu-jitsu tournament, a pancration tournament. Pancration is like MMA basically, but it was a legal version before MMA was legal in California. And so there was one person that I always saw, we always gave each other a nod, had a mutual respect, but weren't really close friends. I'm grateful to say that we are today. But we always saw each other in the fight circuit, and I always noticed this guy had one hand. And in jiu-jitsu tournaments, he always made it to the finals. It's like, how does he grab? How does he grip? How does he do that? And he usually took first place after about a year of seeing this guy. And now he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He does tournaments everywhere, and we became friends, and I was rolling with him. Keep in mind, he fights at about 135, 140. I was always between like 190 and 210. So I'm a lot bigger than this guy. And when we were sparring on the mat and doing jiu-jitsu and stuff, he'd go to grab my neck, and there's a move called the rear naked choke where you gotta get the hand through here and get it behind. Well, it's a lot easier to get that forearm across the neck when the hand's not, the hand is kind of what blocks it. You get it right through. And then he grabs it. And so with a lot of the defenses where you have to grab the meaty part of the palm and stuff like that, you can't defend it. So his chokes were really tight. When you go to grab him by his wrist, he slips out easier because there's not a hand blocking it. I'm like, this guy, biggest weakness is his biggest advantage. He is killing the competition. Now he travels all over getting paid to compete in super fights. Then I saw him with a glove taped to his hand, and I'm like, wait, I know he's good at jiu-jitsu, but is he really going to do pancration? I mean, he's trying to hit them, but he doesn't have a fist. They're hitting him back. He did well in that. He ended up going undefeated as an amateur, has a winning record as a pro, and is also, I believe now, 3-1 in boxing. Boxing. You guys, boxing. Puts the glove on, so he has learned to adapt. Another guy by the name of Kyle Maynard. Any hardcore wrestling, jiu-jitsu, MMA fans? So Kyle Maynard, have you guys heard of Kyle Maynard before? So Kyle Maynard is one of my favorite inspirational stories. So he was born with no legs, no arms. He just had studs. Tried playing football, then he wanted to wrestle. They said, wrestling. So they let him try out for wrestling. Wrestling is a sport where you don't get cut, you can only quit. Wrestling is so much harder than basketball, football, any other sport that they don't have to cut you, right? If you can stick through it, you made the team. Because they can make a champion out of anyone as long as they have you on the mat long enough, right? And so Kyle Maynard goes out for wrestling. How do you think he did his first year? Horrible. He won this many matches. He got pinned by everyone he went against. And they interviewed all these kids who were going up against him, and they said, I feel bad whooping this guy. I mean, it's not fair. He has no arms to grab me. He has no legs. It's like an unfair advantage I have over this guy. Second year, goes out every single practice, every day, trying to get better. Does horrible. Now, most of those 2 years in would quit, right? Third year, he wins a few matches. Guy with no arms and no legs is winning some wrestling matches. He's hitting the weight room, he's doing all these exercises, he's getting stronger, he's getting better. By his fourth year, he went undefeated. Destroyed everyone, pinned almost every single opponent he went against. They started interviewing his opponents to see what they had to say. You know what they said? It's not fair. He has no legs to grab, no arms to grab. He's so much stronger because he's lighter, because he doesn't have his arms and legs. How can I compete against a man that's strong? So his weakness turned into his greatest strength. When I started Epic Fighting, everyone thought because I did this huge show, I must be this big promotion that came from LA or Vegas or somewhere and had millions of dollars and tens of millions of dollars of investors' money, and it was just me. I just sold houses for a living. I didn't have a lot of money. So when I wanted billboards everywhere, I called and started negotiating with every number I said with a billboard. Hey, is your manager or assistant manager, anyone in there happen to be a UFC fan? What if I traded them some tickets? He said, you realize billboards are like $5,000 a month. How many tickets do you have? Finally got someone that I traded them advertising for advertising plus tickets. Had billboards all over San Diego with Epic Fighting with no budget. Did the same thing with pedicab ads. Got my logo all over pedicab ads to give them a VIP table. So we have to get creative and figure out what we need to do. We gotta find a way or make a way to really take our business to the next level. Have you guys heard of the triangle trade method? So I got lucky with the billboard company because I was able to trade something they wanted for something that we wanted. There was one company called Lamar Outdoor Advertising who was a huge MMA fan. Now another situation, I had a video guy who I was friends with who really wanted a membership at a local gym. Now that gym really wanted a VIP table at Epic Fighting. And so what he did is he called me and he said, hey, I'll make a video for you if you give them a VIP table so I could get a membership at their gym. That's the triangle trade, right? So you don't have to have something that person wants, right? They have something you want. You don't have to have something they want, but you have to find a way to add value to someone who has something they want. Does that make sense? Good. Now, the last story I'm going to do really quick because I'm a little short on time. I believe I've been notified. And that's about getting on the other side of your comfort zone. So we went over being creative. We went over using your weaknesses to your advantage. And we went over the power of vision. So getting on the other side of your comfort zone. So I was with my best friend at a restaurant, a fast food restaurant here called Evolution. And as I'm backing up, I look out the rearview mirror and I say, oh my God, this girl is gorgeous. He said, what are you talking about? He turns around, I'm like, he's like, are you all right, man? He turns around, he's like, oh my gosh, she is gorgeous. So I pull out of the parking lot, I pull over, I was like, all right, I can't do it. You need to go tell this girl I have a crush on her. He said, no, I don't like how I'm dressed. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't like how you're dressed? This isn't about you, it's about me. You're my best friend. Go tell this girl I have a crush on her. He said, I'm not gonna do it. I slam the door, I get out, I walk towards the car, and the car drove off. I was like, oh man, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I was like, you know what? You're always telling people to get out of their comfort zone.